The Lorraine Schools Alumni Association would like to welcome Dr. Kenneth Bryant Jr. to the Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame.
Good morning, y'all. If the Lord's willing, I'll turn 41 this November. And I hope my life and my work stretch far beyond that marker, that there's still purpose on me, waiting on me, still some good left to do. But whatever the future holds, what I'm not going to do is pretend that I arrived this morning on my own steam, by grit alone, by some myth of being self-made. I didn't get here alone. And in moments like these, that's what I choose to center. I was privileged to be raised by working people who believed in education and took that belief seriously. I was educated by people who showed up early and stayed late and poured their wisdom into a kid who didn't yet know what he'd become. So I want to spend my time honoring a few LCS educators who shaped and sharpened me into the educator and the man that I am. I'll start with Mr. Bob Jones. He turned his classroom into a game show and history into something you could get excited about. The past was never dusty or distant with him. It lived and argued and was endlessly fascinating. He showed me that joy is a doorway to learning. Because of Mr. Jones, I know that the lessons that last the longest are the ones we first fall in love with. Mr. Richard Falk understood that ideas don't always arrive politely. Sometimes they come through, and there's no other way to describe them, crazy movies, through questions that linger long after the school bell rings. He used cinema as a provocation. There were no easy answers, just questions, always questions. Question behavior, question authority, question power. He taught me that education isn't about supplying certainty. It's about demanding thought. Mrs. Trina Felinsky literally unleashed her students. She handed us cameras and said, "Go make something." And that was liberating for a kid like me. Learning by creating is learning that sticks, has followed me through every chapter of my life. And Mrs. Felinsky has a special place in my heart because she saw me, a quiet kid with a hesitant voice, and she nudged me to the front of the room toward being heard. And then there's Mrs. Donna Garwell. I walked into her class convinced I was a brilliant writer. First drafts only, no revisions. She swiftly cured me of that delusion. She handed back one of my papers soaked in red ink, and it hurt my little feelings. But it saved me, because she taught me both an academic and a life lesson. Revision is not failure. Revision is respect for the work, for the process, for your own potential. What I didn't understand then, but I see clearly now, is that these lessons were part of a system of public education that was built and maintained by people who believed that someone like me was worth investing in. And the quiet truth behind this noble work is that no one enters it expecting to get rich. We know better. But educators trade in a different currency, and it never depreciates. It shows up years later in a message that simply says, "Thank you. Thank you for giving me grace. Thank you for pushing me. Your class changed my life." That's a rare kind of compensation, and that's the paycheck that lasts. So today I want to pay my debt to these fellow educators in a way that resonates. To Mr. Jones, to Mr. Falk, to Mrs. Felinsky, to Mrs. Garwell, to Ms. Petty, to Mr. Osisco, to the countless public school educators who poured into me. You know who you are. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for demanding more from me. And thank you for lighting the way. I'm here in no small part because of you. And it's my firm belief that the debt I carry is not just one I repay backwards, it's one I'm required to repay forward. This is the obligation every generation inherits, to honor what was built for us and build something worthy of those who come after us. I'm not self-made. I'm support-made. I'm public education-made. I'm Bryant-made. I'm Rainey-made. I'm Aquatree-made. I'm Mills-made. I'm community made. I've inherited what was built by those who came before me, and I honor their sacrifice, their courage, their endurance, their grit, and abiding faith. Me, I'm simply living proof of that humbling truth. There, but for the grace of God, go I. So I am humbled, and I thank you for this honor.